Welcome back to the Pilates Exchange. I'm your host, Hannah Teutcher. So, this is the podcast where we are trying to, me, I'm trying to help you think about CRMs, about software as a partner for your studio, a partner for your business or your future business. I have been putting a lot of thought into what would be the most helpful for you guys at home. And I want this to be supportive for not only the people that have a studio right now, for you to be rethinking perhaps what you need going forward, but I really would also like to be supporting the people that are new to this industry, because I see you out there. There's a lot of new studios that are popping up. And for this episode to be supportive, I'm not going to give you all of the answers because that isn't supportive. That's taking away the important work that you need to do is answering the questions, and I'm hopefully going to be giving the good questions that will make a difference in your business. So that is the crux of the episode. Also, I think it's important for you to understand in the series of this season, we talk a lot about hustle. Before, we had a life-changing event. We talk about the boundaries that are around that and the systems. And this, I really believe, is a natural progression of those really needing a good system to support your business. If you don't have that, it becomes very, very chaotic when things go different than planned. So if that makes sense to you because you've been listening along, great. Then you have a good basis why it's important. If that didn't make sense to you, I want you to go back a few episodes and listen to what had happened in our life. So some background on me. Our studio is 11 years old now. Before that time, I've been through a lot of different types of softwares as my studio has grown. And the questions and the thoughts that I have about software, it comes out of my own personal experience running my business, but it also comes from an experience of being before the time of software. I've been in this a really long time, decades long, of being on the yoga side of it, the Pilates side of it, the dance school side of it. This is way before we had softwares that held information that we need to run our businesses. So we are in a very privileged place to have all of these great systems that can support us, but I understand that it is very overwhelming and that technology is moving so fast that there's the tendency to feel overwhelmed. There's a tendency to be confused about all this. There's a tendency to also live in this like comparison sort of mindset when you're looking at different businesses and what they're doing, that you're comparing it, that it's like the next shiny thing that you need to do and need to have. So this episode is to slow all that down and have a bit of mindfulness for yourself, especially in a landscape that goes as fast as it is. What I won't be doing for you today is telling you exactly what you should do, because I think that it is very specific to you. It's very specific to your values. It's very specific to what you need and what you want to accomplish. Yeah, no hustle culture in here, no improvement pressure in here. This is just opportunities for reflection and growth. And the first question that I would have for you is, when you're thinking about choosing a software, a CRM, do you feel clarity going forward or do you feel pressure? We want to be leading from a place of confidence, especially when you're going in and doing demos and you're questioning these softwares and what they could do for you. And I want you to have the space and the clarity to ask the right questions. You can't do that if you are feeling like you're having to hustle, or if it's a feeling of being left behind. So I don't want you to be in a reactionary place. I really want you to be responding to what your own needs are going forward. You're not only going forward, but what are your dreams for your studio? Like I said, this episode is for seasoned studio owners, but it's also for all of you newbies out there that are looking in this exciting time. And this is, wow, in the Pilates world, there's a lot of exciting times going on. So I would like to encourage you to look at something that's sustainable, okay? Not just trying to get a software so it seems like you're established. You want a software, a CRM that has a sustainability aspect of supporting you in your business growth. Well, what is CRM anyways? CRM is a client relationship management system. It's important because in the Pilates world and in yoga and all the other ones, but it's about relationships. It's about the relationship not only between you and your clients. If you're a solo, if you're in the solo business, or if you have teachers, it's about also managing the relationship of your other teachers and the clients. It's about managing the relationship between you as the owner and your teachers. It could be, it's a lot of different things. It's layers in there. So if you look at the software as a relationship building partner, I think you'll have a different way of viewing all of the tech side of it, because I want it to be something that helps you grow and helps you take care of also your own boundaries and create systems that are sustainable for you. You want to think about your CRM as a memory for the relationships that you have, right? It's not just a booking system. It's not just a payment system. It's a system that you don't have to carry everything that's in your head. It's about choosing that support, not just having ambition for where you want to grow. And I'm sure that all of you have goals, right? You have those big visions of where you want your studio to reach and your business to reach. But you can't do that if you don't have good understanding of your client's history, what are their preferences, what's the communication that's happening in the background between them. That's where you get to step back and relax, because you're going to let the system support you in there. I mentioned a little bit ago about, if you looked at a few prior episodes of the Pilates Exchange, you'll understand why it is so important we say this. If you had to step away from your studio, from your business, could someone else understand your client relationships? That is incredibly important, even if you do not know what's going to happen. Why would you want to step away? I'm sure you're thinking about that'll never happen to me. But it is really important that you look at that. It is a safety net. It's a support system. And I want you to be thinking about building it from the very beginning. So what important information is in your head that should be living in a system? What can your clients feel? At the safety that they can feel if you don't have to manually track everything that's going on. So that the system is supporting those relationships structurally, not just emotionally from you. And I think that hopefully gives you some freedom, or at least a different viewpoint as we're going into the next thing, because your software should be a partner. It's not a fix. It's a partner. It can't do all of the job for you. We're in the relationship business. We're in the teaching business. And I think that should be freeing. I want you to think about that software as a relationship, a long-term relationship, hopefully, because it's hard to move a software. So you want to get it right, as close to right. Sometimes you will have to move anyways, but there's a stress if you're constantly having to switch back and forth. That being said, just like a relationship, if it's not working for you, if it's causing you more headaches, then you must switch, because your partner should be supporting you, and you want a good relationship with your support, with your partner, because you are going to be living inside this software. So many hours of your week are going to be spent within the system, and it should be freedom. It should be something that helps you. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can't think of a word other than freedom right now. It should be freedom because it's helping you with structure. It's helping you with clarity. It's helping you with the relationship, what's there. And you should be looking at that system. Like if you decided to change a CRM, if you had to change it, it's because something is, maybe it's broken. Maybe that relationship is not going well, or maybe because you want to build something better. Because you want to be choosing a system that you could at least live with it 2 or 3 years, if at all possible. Because changing costs, oh my gosh, it costs so much energy. So I want you to be choosing the right one from the very beginning, and that's going to be based on fit, not based on hype, not because someone else says, oh, this is the next best thing. You need to be doing the demos and that fit to your business. It's your partner. You know how it handles your data, your money, and your clients. So when you're doing these demos, I want you to be thinking, here's some questions for you. What features, what are you, if you already have a system, what are you actually using all the time? And what do you think that you can use? There's a real big difference between what you could use and what you will use. And these systems, these softwares are very sexy. Like they have a lot of different types of things, a lot of different tools that you could be doing, a lot of different this and that, and you might not need everything. And that's important because there's a lot of upsell, like, you're also in business. So, there's an upsell part of it. Do you need all of it or not? And there's an excitement. And so I want to bring down the excitement because I don't want you to be just seduced by all the features. But I want you to be thinking about where you can grow, and what you absolutely must have and what you will use. So here's an example what I mean. Some of you are starting a business and you do not yet have a website. Having a website builder within your CRM would be incredible if you do not yet have a website. Website is your, it's the face of your business. You must have a good website that's there to be able to show what you're about. And if it's already connected, like, oh my gosh, like how cool is that? If you have an online component to your business, then you need to have something that supports the online side of it. If you're thinking about having an online side of it, then that's something that you really do want to consider. Can you stream? I think most softwares do that right now, but what is the added cost to have, is there an added cost to it? What sort of emails can you be sending? You have your transactional emails, but your, other emails to the clients, to your relation, again, relationship building. What can that software do to support you in there? And then another aspect of this is sometimes you have all these big ideas of what you want to do, but what can realistically can you maintain at this point? Like, what season is your business in right now? Are you, have you already been in this business for 10 years and you're looking for, a better way to support, or are you at the very beginning of your business? I think those are very different places to be in, and I want you to be looking at it through those eyes. You want to think about how you're growing, but a person that is teaching, a teacher that is teaching at 2 or 3 locations and is looking for a CRM to bring it all together and to give yourself a little bit more, freedom and structure, is very different from someone that has 10 different locations and is looking to build out that way. So our needs are not the same at all. And I want you to, just to lean into that. That's okay. It's okay to be at the beginning of your business. It's okay, of course, to be deeper into it and also needing to look for a change. So what do you want to, if you are a seasoned studio owner, what do you want to stop doing? Exciting doesn't mean supportive, right? So what aspect of your day-to-day do you want to hand off to someone else? And someone, I mean this new partner in your business. What things are you doing that are draining you that you could possibly hand off so that you can gain a little bit more time back for yourself? As you're looking and you're doing these demos, what features sound impressive, but do those features actually solve a real friction point that's in your business? So that you're looking for maybe not more tools, but more clarity that's going to help you. And again, this is very specific to what phase of your studio are you in? Are you on the startup side of it? Are you on a growth side of the business right now? Are you on a stabilization side of this? Are you on a redesign? You've been there for a while and now you're needing to rethink things as you go forward. Those are different aspects, and being clear, maybe after this podcast or right now, to think, what do I need to hand off? And that will give you, just that breath of oh my gosh, this system is now going to do all of this for me. That's incredible. So an example is, if you are, say you're a solo teacher versus a team of people. Do you have to have substitutes all the time? Are they all freelance teachers and you need to manage all the substitute? Is the software going to help you do that? Or if you're a solo teacher and you need help getting people to pay on time, and so that you set your boundaries in place, is that what you're looking for? Do you have one location versus many locations, and are those locations interacting with one another so that you can have one membership that works over all of your different studio spaces? So all of those they're different seasons that you're in, but if you can look to say that the software is going to fit the business that you're running, not the one that you're pressured to become. I'll give you an example. For us, we don't have a huge team, but there's 8 of us all together, and everyone is an employee. So our payroll integration, I actually have a different system that's in place that takes care of it. I don't need to have, I don't need to have a fancy payroll thing because I know exactly how much, what's going on in the background. That would just be an extra tool and an extra expense that I personally don't need. But if you are a studio that has, I know some of my colleagues, they have 40 teachers, 50 teachers. Yeah, you might need then a payroll. You know, I just don't need that. If you have that many teachers, of course you're going to be wanting to look at what a payroll integration could be. If you're a solo teacher, you probably don't need that. I want you to be thinking about, I would say every software that I've looked at has multiple different ways of setting your business up. If it's like a class-based one or a membership-based or a hybrid, or maybe you're more, if you look at difference between classes, just classes, or private training, that if you are a private training focused studio, you want to make sure that that private training aspect is beautiful for your clients to be able to book themselves in, or perhaps you want to book your client for the next year. So can your software then support what those needs are? Maybe your studio has multiple different aspects of it, sort of like ours. But then you want to explore all of those different types of ways of setting it up. Make sure that the software does exactly what you need it to do. I want to take a step back and say that there is no perfect software out there, but there is an amazing solution for where you are at. And when you look at it like that, then that there's so much more freedom. Like you are not competing with someone else. You're just trying to find the thing that works the best for you. And I want you to be thinking about the business that you are currently running and the one that you would like to be in the next couple of years, not the one that Instagram or social media says that you have to be running. I want to say thank you to Offering Tree for sponsoring this season of our podcast. Running a Pilates business means juggling payments, scheduling, marketing, and so much more. And Offering Tree gets it. They've built an all-in-one platform for Pilates professionals, handling scheduling, payments, marketing, your website, and so much more. What I love is that they're not just a software. They also provide community and educational resources, supporting you every step of the way. Plus, there are no annual commitments or pushy sales tactics. For our listeners, get 50% off your first 3 months or 15% off of the year at offeringtree.com/Pilates Exchange. That's offeringtree.com/Pilates Exchange. Spend less time on admin and more time on teaching. Again, offeringtree.com/Pilates Exchange. Remember when I said that CRMs are client, it's all about those relationships, the management of the relationship. It's also your relationship, and I want you to be thinking about your relationship to tech, okay, technology. I want you to feel that. I want you to be thinking about making this feel human again. This is your partner. I want you to be looking at when you're demoing anything, does it feel like it's intuitive to the way that you understand things? If you're not tech savvy, this is all the much more important because it needs to make sense. If it needs to, of course, every system is different. You need to learn it. That's not the thing, but that you say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I go from here to go over there because you're the human in this situation. It needs to make sense for you, not a bot, not AI. Do they have, does the CRM have tutorials that make sense to you? Do they have knowledge bases of that support you at where you're at and where you want to go? Some of these softwares have communities where you can continue to learn about your business, about growing your business. And I find that to be such a valuable component to growing your business in the future. Your software should not become just another job, another thing that you need to do, another task. The technology that you're choosing needs to support you when things go wrong. that's when it really matters. It needs to support where you're at in your business. And your teams, your teachers, whoever is supporting you, they need to be able to use it without you. So questions that you need to be asking is, how tech fluent are you honestly? If something breaks, like I have a quotation, if something's not working the way that you want it to, or you don't understand, can you reach a real human? Do they have that also tutorials there that you can, if it's off hours or whatever, is there a knowledge base there that's going to be supportive? Are the tutorials actually understandable, or are they feeling overwhelming? Again, like, can your team use it if you have a team without constant guidance from you? If you were out for a month, could someone else be able to step in and use it? Because I want you to connect back to some of our other episodes of continuity, of being able to have support systems that are there, about also stepping back when you need to for whatever reason. Let's hope it's a vacation, not a crisis. Another important aspect that I think we do not talk about as much as we should is metrics, data. The data that you are able to see is so important, because it's knowledge. If you're able to read the data that's there, read the reports, then you're able to catch what's going on in the studio as it's happening, not after the fact. You're able to catch problems that are happening early enough. You can make decisions with the information that you have, not just like, oh, I feel like, because what our feelings are and what the data actually says could be very different. It's not about micromanaging, but it's really about, having it right there, black and white, what's going well, what's not going well, so that you make the decisions that are going to be best for where you're at. Some questions, do you know what your retention rate is in your studio or in your classes? Do you know if your classes are profitable, or which ones, which times, which teachers? Do you know how your intro offers are converting? Do you have, if something is feeling off, do you have the data that confirms that or challenges that? So challenges that feeling, because we always want to look at the data. Is the reporting that's available to you reduce the anxiety, or is it creating anxiety? I've had both. Because we don't want to run our businesses just from emotion. We want informed insight there. There will be times where you get that feeling. In German, we have something that's called Bauchgefühl. It's like your gut feeling. And those are important to follow, but you have to be able to back it up with the data that's there. Another aspect that I really find very important is that software can be a boundary keeper for you. Boundaries with clients. Boundaries are not always bad things. They reduce stress. Boundaries can create space. It creates freedom. Boundaries and I'm looking specifically at boundaries with communication. Are you a person that's on the email, checking your email, 20 times a day to see if someone's written you back? Do you have all of those information lines in one spot? For example, boundaries with payments, even keeping boundaries with yourself and your timeline. What do you want to be doing and when do you want to do? Because a good CRM doesn't just support your clients. It really does protect your own boundaries, so that you can have your CRM give those automated emails, so you don't need to do a late night reply, at 11 o'clock at night if someone cancels, so you could set those clear policies up, so that it's like shared information that's there. It doesn't have to go through you. You can have your system that does it. That also means that you're going to have to set up some clear policies so that you don't have to always negotiate with your clients. We want that, again, it's about freedom. So can your system set up reminders and confirmations and appointment confirmations without you needing to do it? Are you over available? You listener, are you over available because your tools are allowing you to be over available? Is your systems respecting your personal boundaries structurally? If not, what would you change? If you had your ideal, what would that look like? And then that's where that would be a non-negotiable when you're looking at your new software. Because it really should be supporting your, I don't know if this makes sense, but it's supporting your nervous system. I can only tell you the anxiety that I had before I moved over to a software, when I was doing everything on a card system, and I would get phone calls all the time about moving reservations. I had a book and I would write down who was coming to which class, and then I had a punch card for each person, and punching, a 10 class card, wrote the date of when they were there. That was so incredibly time consuming and emotionally draining for me. So, my first software was really about having, I actually made it at a time, there wasn't very many options that were out there, but it came from such a place of necessity that I didn't shop around to see what I actually needed. It was just it has to get done right now, or else I'm not going to teach another day in my life. So, it's, again, there's not a perfect software. It is really about making thoughtful choices about what you need at this season in your business. I want you to be thinking about those values first, the values of your business. What do you absolutely need to feel that your clients are being supported the best way that they can? Make it easy for them, but make it easy for you, because that's, my goodness, if you want to be in it for the long time for your business, you have to lead with that. The right system is, it's not about being fancy. It's not about making your business impressive. It's about making it sustainable and livable, that it's not, the next couple of months, but you're thinking about the next couple of years. And I want to remind you that it's okay to shop around. It is good to do demos. You want to be able to grow into the system and with your system. So if I had questions to leave you with at this point, would be, what would make your business feel more livable? What would your future self like to thank you for? Yeah, that would be, talking about those priorities. If you're leading from those values, what do you want to prioritize next in your business? And how can that infrastructure really support you as you grow in your next phase of your business? So again, like I said from the very beginning, it's not about me telling you exactly, which software you need to choose. It's about examining where you're at. What don't you want to do anymore? What aspects of support can you have this system do for you? I hope that all of that makes sense. Hey everyone, I am wishing you a wonderful, happy teaching week. I'm looking forward to you next week. Chris will be joining us. If you have any questions, reach out. And I'm looking forward to it. Have a wonderful rest of your day.